Hello, I'm Billy Graham. This is my mom, Shauna Graham, and we are so excited to be here today to talk about my dream job. We own a store in Central City in Nebraska called You Are Worth It. We are going to tell you how it all started.
Yes, so thank you so much for having us, Edison, and the ARC of Nebraska. We're super excited to be here. The title of our presentation I thought could be Finding Our Purpose, because I think we're probably all trying to do that on some level. But this is a selfie of my family, and so we're sitting, a good family pajama. We're sitting at table 3, so my husband is here, Ellie, Skylar, Bailey, and then we have twins that are 6, but we decided against bringing them this evening. So, yes, and my sister and my niece are here, so we will get started. Yeah. Okay, and so it all actually started in 2009. This is a picture from the first Down syndrome walk that we went to in 2009, and that's where I met Angie and Deb, who are members of Down Syndrome Advocates in Action, so also friends I've had now that I think for 14 years. Bailey was born July 24th of 2009. When I was 25 years old, we had declined all prenatal testing, and so we didn't know until she was born that she was gonna have Down syndrome. And I'm gonna be honest, I blogged about it. We have a podcast where I talked about those first 3 months were a little rough. And I think it's good to talk about that for other new parents that are having babies as well. But once we went to the walk in October, that's kind of when we realized it was all going to be okay. We saw all these other families thriving and doing so well. It was really our first chance to interact with other families like us. And I'm so glad that we were able to do that.
I attended my first walk when I was just 3 months old. I didn't like one bit.
Okay, so we have been, like Julie mentioned, we have been selling shirts since 2009, and it was actually my sister's idea. The first walk that we went to, we printed about 15 shirts and we put on the back the Bailey Bunch, and so we've slowly sold those every year. In 2021, which was the last year we sold them, last year we opened the store, so it was a little bit crazy, but we sold 525 shirts. And it's funny because I will be like out and about in Grand Island with a Bailey shirt, and someone will ask me if I know Bailey. So she's taken on a life, it's taken on a life of its own. All of the proceeds from those shirts we donate to groups. So we donated to Down Syndrome Advocates in Action. We donated to groups in Central City that work on giving opportunities to those with disabilities. And then we actually started an endowed scholarship. So up until before the store opened, I was the executive director at the Merrick Foundation in Central City, which is a community foundation that's been in existence since 1960. And it was really important to me to create some sort of permanent scholarship for kids like Bailey, or if there's not an applicant that would qualify, then someone that's going into the realm of working with those with disabilities. So she was actually able to, she'll tell you in a second, but she was able to award the first scholarship last year, and she'll do that again in April of this year.
With the money we raised from t-shirts sales, we decided to make a scholarship for other students. Like me, I awarded the first scholarship last year to Kenzie Ward, who wants to be a special ed teacher. We will award it again in April. When I was in 5th grade, my teachers had us write about our dream job. I wrote about how I wanted to sell candy so toys, candy, slime, and to be a joy expert, my parents made it happen.
So this is actually a photo of what she wrote before she wrote what her dream job was. And this was the fall of 2020, so it was, like a couple months post-COVID, and nobody really knew what was happening. And I wasn't really sure what to do with this. I talked to my husband, not really sure where that's headed. And then I'll let you go to the next slide. And I know a lot of people in this room probably know who Andy Hoffman was, but he was he raised an incredible amount of money for pediatric cancer research, and he actually opened a law office in Central City. And I worked with him several times. Being at the Merrick Foundation, we did a lot of estate planning, and so we started talking, and he actually was a keynote speaker at one of our chamber events, which was super awesome. And the message that he gave, it was right at that time where we were trying to figure out what we were going to do. And he just said, you need to find something that you're passionate about advocating for and do that. You don't need to have a plan. It doesn't have to be this whole written out thing. Just have a plan and do something. And he told the great story of how, when his son was diagnosed with cancer, and the more he was researching it, there's really not a lot of funding. They're using the same drugs they were using in 1980. And he goes, so I just picked up the phone, and then I talked to somebody else who knew somebody else. And so that's kind of the point. Like, I remember going home and I was like, we just need to do something. And my husband is very methodical, and I'm not. So I step first, knowing it's going to be fine, and he wants to know steps 1 through 10. So we've worked through that, but we kind of made a plan and launched Bailey's boxes. Okay, yeah.
I picked all of the items that go into my Billy boxes with my mom. The cost is $25 plus tax. We like to do Facebook videos to talk about how much fun kids can have fun with the Billy box. They can pick them up from our store. We can ship them or we even deliver.
Yeah, so the business of Bailey's Boxes began in November of 2020, and it's literally all of our favorite things in one box. So there's been toys, fidgets, candy club. We gifted a few Peach Hearts earlier tonight. That's her favorite candy. And the $25 price point was important because we wanted people to be able to afford it. We actually sold 1,500 boxes in the first year. When we first did our Facebook Live video for Christmas, at first we were thinking we would hope to sell 50 boxes or so. The video more or less went viral, and within 48 hours we had sold out all 250 boxes that we had planned for. So people were just fantastic at supporting her. And Bailey determines what items are in each box. So there's different wholesale companies that we buy from, and it's really a matter of showing her the items, and within 2 seconds, she will tell me yes or no. And there is no wavering. So once it's a no, it's a no.
This is a picture of my friends Connie and Matt, my friends. We are delivering Billy boxes to them.
Yeah. So Connie and Matt was the state night for the Knights of Columbus. And so 2 years in a row, actually, they've made large orders at Christmas, so we meet them in York. And then Connie actually asked Bailey to speak in Kearney about a year ago as well about her business. So Bailey has grown very fond of Connie. Okay. Yeah.
We opened a retail store in March of 2022. I like to help people find the items when they come to the store, and also check them out. It's fun when people pay with their credit cards. but I did. Oh, but my mom also makes me count change when they paid with cash.
So she doesn't necessarily always like having back change, but so we had the Bailey Box business for a year, and then we decided to sign a lease in December of 2021 to open a store. Again, not really knowing what that would all entail. So our store first opened March 4th of last year. And so we just celebrated a year, and I would say it's been a very successful year, kind of exceeded all of our expectations. The name of our store is You Are Worth It, and we're right on Highway 30 in Central City. And the reason that we came up with that name is because probably about 2 years ago, Bailey would just start telling everybody they were worth it when she was meeting them. So we thought that was a very fun, unique name, and it's always a good talking point as well. And we really have unwavering support from our community. You know, the first weekend we were open, there was a line out the door. People are so patient. They're not in a hurry when they come in. If you visit us at the store, you will leave with stuff you didn't know you needed. And she will tell you what not to buy. So it's gone really well. We also screen print shirts, and so together with all of that, our community has been so supportive. It's been amazing. Yeah.
We sell all my favorite things in the store, including toys, candy. Mom forgot the B. Not bombs.
I have a typo.
Books and shirts.
Yeah, so this is a picture of our store. We really wanted to make it bright and rainbowy, so kind of like what Bailey mentioned that we offer. We really try to source from Nebraska-based businesses if we can, so that we have freeze-dried candy from Auburn. We have candy from Greenwood. Our bath bomb gal, do you want to say your name?
Jen Watson, BFF.
Jen Watson's her BFF. All of our bath items are sourced from Omaha, and the cool thing is she makes them all, but Bailey really gets to pick all of the scents. And she's even sent us oils to smell so that we know exactly what they're going to smell like. Rowan Scentistics is a new offering that we have in the store. He's a little guy from Central City who has autism, and he's homeschooled, and so he sells, they're called freshies. So they're air fresheners that you can put in your car, your locker, really wherever you need a freshener. And this past month, we sold 50 of them. So it's really cool that we're able to offer and help other young entrepreneurs in Central City. Brooks's Bookshelf is also in our store. Those of you that haven't heard of that, that's a nonprofit in Hastings. And Brooks is 4, and he has Down syndrome. Just recently was diagnosed with autism as well. And so it's a nonprofit where they provide free books to essentially, it's a bookshelf to anybody who asks. And so they raise money for that. The books are all about kindness and acceptance. His mom paints the bookshelves, and then Brooks' grandfather actually crafts them. So another great story that we're able to have in the store. And then lastly, a partnership with Central City High School. So Central City has an 18 to 21 program, and the life skills teacher who's in charge of that also works with Bailey a couple of classes throughout the day. And so we have a 21-year-old from Central City who comes every Friday. Macy is her name. And she helps us inventory, label items, clean up, really whatever we need to do, she helps. So we're hoping that that partnership can continue as well. And she can check people out too. So it's just a fun place. Okay. So our why, we get asked really frequently why we started a store. And I think, like, again, everyone in this room, I think everyone's goal is to have meaningful and fulfilling work. Nobody wants to get up and kind of drag your feet about where you're headed that day. And so we were really trying to think about what does that look like for Bailey when she's older. And as much as I said I don't plan, I am totally worrying about stuff 20 years from now that will not be helpful right now. So when I was talking with my husband about this story, I said, I really just want Bailey to have a place where she can feel comfortable and do her thing. I think, as a parent of a child with a disability, you hear a lot throughout the school process. And that's not a bad thing for the school. They have to tell you where they're at, but you hear so often throughout the day what's not going well, what they're not good at, that they're in the first percentile for testing. And so it's really nice to be able to give her something where she thrives. And I don't know many 13-year-olds that would feel comfortable getting up in front of a room. So I think speaking is her thing. There also is a general lack of opportunity for differently abled individuals. There's kind of a path they go down, right? And we just wanted to create our own path, so we did. And again, I think being able to focus on our strengths is something that we also wanted to do. And I still remember when we first opened and you're just, doubting, like, should we have done this? Should we not? Are we crazy? Somebody came in and she gave him a hug and showed him around the store for about 20 minutes. And it was at that point I was like, I feel like I should know them, so I can't be like, I forgot your name, because that's rude, right? So I don't say anything, super friendly, they leave, and I said, babe, who was that? She goes, I don't know. I was like, okay. Right. So, and that's really how it is when you come in the store. So I just wanted to share about Bailey's strengths. Every Bailey box is released with a Facebook video we create. And it's usually live, so there's usually a bunch of craziness that ensues. She's taken a drone to the face before, on accident, of course. But she really likes being able to share those things. We go live at 5 every Thursday night on our store page so that we can talk about new things that come in. And she really likes to watch the bottom as people hop on and really say hello and really engage with the audience. She really does like helping them find what they need and checking them out. It's been helpful to incorporate school concepts into real life. Math is a struggle. She doesn't necessarily appreciate it very much. No. But when it's counting back money, then it kind of takes on a life of its own. Or when we're trying to figure out what's in the Bailey box and the price point's $25, why we can't have a $30 item. We've talked a lot about sales tax and those types of things. So it's really been a good learning curve for her and my other children as well. And she has spoken a handful of times to groups about her business. And I remember when she was at the People First conference, she just walked around the room with the microphone and asked who had questions, and I mean, she owned it, so. Okay, so I couldn't be in this room and not be able to say a little bit about, how can we duplicate this across the state? And I really think it's, the guiding principle. Communities are willing and ready to support those with disabilities, so how can we make this happen? And I know some of this exists currently, but as I was talking to my husband about, there's a gallon party, for example, that wants to start an ice cream truck for her and her son. Her son has Down syndrome, and they're selling shirts to raise money for that. We were fortunate enough that we could pay to start a store, and we realized not everybody can do that. So just different small business grants or low or no interest loans to get people started. I'm lucky I worked in healthcare for 13 years and then at a nonprofit for 2 years before I left to work at the store. So I have access to a lot of people when I get confused on things or need help. But I think business coaching is a really important point, both for those individuals that have a disability and the people helping them. Tax incentives for employers who hire and employ those with disabilities. I realize it's not a one-to-one hire, but how can we incentivize employers to make sure that we're including those people that are wanting and able to work? And really just determining practical ways to never pay a sub-minimum wage in Nebraska. I was telling Julie earlier tonight, you're kind of just in the moment that you're in, and so Bailey's 13, so there's all of these things I feel like I have yet to learn. But I hope by the time Bailey is 18 or 21, we're not still talking about a sub-minimum wage. Yes.
His last mark. A quote that we have put on the back our shirts is be the change wish you to see in the world. Everyone in this room has the ability to make a difference. My question to you is, will you? Pick me up.